Okay. Hello everyone. Thanks for being here. This talk will be in English, as we have with us the guys from LYL Radio, LYL and Banda from Drugstore Belgrade. Yesterday, for who was here, we had this talk about making cultural efforts, festivals and events, independent events in the suburbs, so outside the main cultural centers, and reflecting on what we mean for cultural centers, suburbs and whatever. And today we switched the focus about this sense of connection, about this kind of cultural web and stuff, which is the main theme that went through this edition of Culto Festival where you all are. And today we decided to focus about the role of independent medias in underground music, and how it's easy to do this proper kind of work without compromising that with all the things that this kind of path, this kind of effort needs. Because the main reflection is the fact that, of course, it seems always easier in this period, going farther with the times to find any kind of content, because everyone which do any kind of music or independent art of any kind can put it on his own website channels, thanks to things like Soundcloud, Bandcamp and whatever. And so it's like we are able to reach almost everything, but this everything is always linked to the bubble where we all live and to which we all relate. So sometimes it's not easy to get over this bubble that sometimes can stuck in a way our knowledge. And so this is in a way where the independent media, the independent amplificators of culture are put, and their work in a way is like putting this kind of effort in create it more available for everyone. But of course, still it's hard. It's difficult to do this kind of a job, not being auto-referential and not do a job that maybe needs some compromise more to be alive, and so making more less spontaneous their kind of approach, I'd say. And to do this kind of reflection in a wider way, today we have with us Raheem with Camilla, the web radio that I think that almost everyone here knows from Milan. Lorenzo Ricca from RBL Turin, but obviously I think that still you all know. We have, as I told, LYL from LYL Radio, and Bane, which is the artistic programmer of Drugstore, so which is in a way something a bit different from the web radio experience, but I think that it's really interesting to a point of view from a very similar kind of media amplification, music amplification. So another way of bringing some kind of underground music to light in a wider approach. So I think that it will be really interesting. And to start to this kind of discussion, I'd like to know your own experience is like. What is your purpose of your experience, your kind of job, how it is, it works, how it has been born, and how it's it goes, how it's your kind of purpose in what you do.
Shall I start?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. Thanks to Liliana, Carlotta, and Giuliano for taking care of me on my trip. So we started like 5.5 years ago, pretty much. I wasn't there at the beginning. I showed up like 6 months later. And the co-founders of Radio Raheem they were like really into other international community radios like East Village radios, which now is shut down, and then of course NTS. And they just started to think about why in Milan, which is a very good city in terms of music industry with really great DJs and great people, why there wasn't like a project similar to NTS, for example. And so they just started this, Radio Raheem, and it has changed so much because especially at the very beginning, it was something like super local and mainly focused on electronic music. And then just step by step, we got like wider. We wanted to cover also international scenes, for example, but also different kind of music scenes, and to represent these scenes in Milan. I'd also say that Radio Raheem is not only, it works in two different ways, because it's both a community radio, but it goes also for something like more editorial, if it makes sense, which means that our research comes from people from the outside, so like from the residents, for example, from the DJs coming by, bringing their environment to us with no boundaries at all. But also we, at a certain point, decided to have more control, just like to shape more the project. So at a certain point we decided to, the team had to do more research about what was going on. And when I say research, means not only digital, which comes from, of course, Soundcloud, Bandcamp, or whatever, but it's something that comes also from the physical networking. So going out, not only in the club, but also like going in a bar, in an exhibition, talking with people coming into the radio. And this is also like a very important research for us. No, pretty much this is all.
Thank you, Camilla. Thanks, Culto, for inviting us. I'm Lorenzo from Radio Banda Larga. Radio Banda Larga is now 10 years old, and it was born with the aim of engaging people that is living in a city and is listening to music, researching into music and other cultural fields, and giving these people a way to express their researches and place a group of people to meet and to engage with them and feel part of a community. So pushing the underground music is not the purpose from what RBL was born, but at the same time we discovered that the people that is listening to the music and researching listen to a lot of underground music, and so the music that they broadcast is mostly underground music. About the social bubble that Carlotta mentioned, RBL has a strong effort into trying to destroy these social bubbles, and so put different people together. And in this sense, I think that involving lots of different people and these people together talking and listening to different kind of music is a way to go outside of that limit. At the same time, as a media, it's a big limit. Because since we are engaging very different people listening to very different kind of music and also expressing other kind of interests in the content they broadcast, it is very hard in the editorial wise to have a good flow and a target to reach. So in this sense it is hard for us as a media to go over that bubble that is the community that is listening to us and creating content. So as a media it's hard for us to bring that content and that underground music and to bring this to a wider audience. Lot of things changed since we start to manage a public place that is in Barchino, in Torino. That was an occasion to bring this kind of content to a wider audience, because it is a bar that is open to everyone and lots of people from different age and social bubbles come and stay, and that is a place where we broadcast from and we organize events, and in this sense, in this place, we had the chance to finally reach a wider audience that is listening to this kind of music. Then I don't know if people that come there and by chance they listen to a concert or a DJ set, then they really got that music and then they go home and start to discover and buy music on Bandcamp. But I think it's a starting point for us to reach a wider audience.
Ciao everyone, I'm Loïs, so from LYL Radio in Lyon, which is a radio created in 2015. I've been there since 2019. And so we have like 4 stations over Lyon, Brussels, Paris and Marseille. And like we represent mainly, I'd say, the underground scene as our motto of slogan, I don't know how to say this in English, motto, like motto, yeah, is we are the rest. So it was created in the first time in Lyon, as a way to give space to, I'd say, nerds of music or people who were, you know, just hanging out together and playing music together. Just, yeah, it was a hangout place. And throughout the time, it just got more and more, I'd say, developed. And so we got it to the way we really try to stay in the underground vibe through the years. And the thing is, we got pretty different experiences from the 4 stations, because they are all located in so different cities, and the dynamics is pretty different there. So I'd say, for instance, in Lyon, we got pretty much difficult time because, you know, the city had some kind of golden era in 2015 when the radio was created. So it was this way we could showcase this to everyone. And now, for example, in Marseille, which was created last year, we got much more dynamics, and this is kind of our way to expand, like going from discovering other cities like Brussels or Paris. But how could I say that? As we are definitely subsidiary free and only rely on ourselves, we tend definitely to stay in this kind of maybe alternative bubble, because we had like this discussion over the past few weeks with, for instance, Brussels, a station who is making some partnership with the Mea Kusma Festival, so which is also around Brussels. And as the dynamic there is, as in Marseille or Brussels, is pretty, open-minded with the cultural administration and stuff. So they are really into this, and so we were maybe wondering about should we do what we call in French entrisme, which is getting access to a wider population and reach new people, maybe mainstream people, for example in Lyon throughout the Nuit Sonore Festival. But this really depends on the city, because for instance in Nuit Sonore in Lyon this is pretty difficult, and we really try to keep the vibe of the radio and not get into some mainstream festival just so they will, take the name and use it as a way to get cool, or just say so. They will involve the smaller ones and then get, subsidiaries. So this is kind of the question we have, but it really depends on each station. So yeah, I think that's it.
I'm Vani, and I come from Belgrade. Thank you to all for inviting me here. I'm representing in this instance Club Drugstore as a programmer there, but I'm also involved in media as working in national television of Serbia and in one of their cultural instances. So I'm kind of an outsider from this crew in a way of not representing really like underground media, but I'm quite involved in let's say media discourse and also through Drugstore and programming pretty much underground material there. I can relate to, let's say, both topics. Speaking of Drugstore, so we are, if maybe some of you don't know, some of you know, we are a club from Belgrade that promotes mostly underground electronic music, but we also like have different ways of cultural involvement in the civil life through production of different let's say theater plays, exhibitions. So in a way we are work as some kind of cultural center. The situation in Serbia is obviously much more different than in any EU country, connected to, let's say, public fundings, EU fundings, any way of like being involved in being recognized as a cultural actor in any way. So in the surroundings that we are living, it was from the beginning very obvious that we should be like very much on the outskirts and like to embrace the word of underground in literal way, because it paid off very much to not be let's say, like an actor of any kind, if in a milieu of the city that is, flooded by corruption and different sorts of, mistreatments of cultural actors. So being completely underground and being outside of any, public viewing in that way made us, last as we are, now 11 years in that domain. So how we are acting and in promoting, different context and content is, really amalgam of different approaches. We are, obviously on the periphery of European cultural scenes, so a lot of the content is dictated by the mainstream, let's say, mainstream underground media from the centers of Berlin, Amsterdam, Paris, etc. So people are really much relying on those media to understand what is happening in the world and of electronic music, what is cool in the moment, where the niches, what their interests should be, or where they should branch out in that sense. So we are unfortunately very much, kind of cornered by this so-called underground media of Europe or US, let's say, and to promote some content that is outside of this mainstream underground, I would say it again, circles. It's it's super hard, and not having any fundings. It's relying pretty much on enthusiasm, and as everyone here knows, enthusiasm just can go so far, and then you're really left with what's on the table, what can bring to your night, what can pay the rent at the end of the day, and but still, as time passes, you also are considered as some kind of let's say beacon of underground culture, and that is giving extra responsibility in not failing people who are only having your club or radio or whatever as their source of information, or as not being commercial in the broad sense is really putting you somehow on the spot of being educational in a way to a lot of people, and as I said, the situation is quite different than in the EU countries. So the state itself, sounding unbelievable as it can, is really in the last 30 years is trying to diminish culture in any possible way, and that reflects a lot in in any sphere of public domain. So you have this accumulated effort from the state to be less and less engaged in culture. So anyone who is actually engaging people in culture, they are looked upon as someone who is making waves, trying to maybe even shake up the political structures of the city, state, etc. So the thin line of how cultural actor who is independent in this domain has to work is a really, sort of circus art, in a way. But not to be, super gloomy and dark. Of course, there's a lot of, benefits of, seeing, your work being beneficial to, consequential generations of people, because, I'm almost like 11 years in this job, and like I'm seeing new kids, coming to the club, and like it really means a lot when on a personal level and professional level, and on being part of different collectives or cultural networks. It feels good to have some word there, and like to somehow guide all these like different inputs from abroad, from local scene, etc., and like somehow try to steer it in some kind of like editorial or curatorial way for the people. Of course, the main problem is to tackle the battle between being commercial and not. In what sense you can, like, as you said, being compromised by commerciality of the content, and where's the thin line of something could be still relevantly good for culture in Broadway, being commercial in the same way. So I guess like a lot of people here, like from the similar cultural days, and that they are tackling the similar problems. But to come back to your opening words about like breaking those bubbles. It's very hard, and I will come back again to the point that the main sources of this media from the central, let's say, centers of power being Berlin, London, Amsterdam, is something that we are seeing as the main objective to our general good as like the cultural actors. So yeah, you can elaborate on that.
As one of the main topic here is how to embrace underground music, and you're all entities that are working for some years or now, so you see the targets changing, the target's attitude changing, and also the underground music itself changing, and a lot of things changed these years. So how do you innovate yourself in this way to be able to still have a connection with this changing?
I think, of course, like during the last 2 days, a lot of things has changed. For our hand, it has always been like to keep an eye of what's going on, especially looking on projects pretty similar to us, just to see how do they work and to get inspiration. I guess it was super difficult at a certain point during the pandemic and the lockdown, when it seemed like anyone could do this by their own self. But then we also found out that as long as you don't have like a community, it's not the same. So the important thing for us was to work on the community. Because, okay, you can also streamline the perfect mix of your life, but as long as you don't have like something behind that you have built step by step, time by time, it's not working at the same way. I don't know if this makes sense. Okay. So I guess for us it was this. And to be like constant, like just keep going in doing this. Yeah.
When we started 10 years ago, online radio in Italy was something quite new. There were some experiments, but well, we felt like it could be the beginning of new era for media. Then after a while, we found out that in our context in Italy, it was very hard for an online media to reach a large audience and, for example, compare our work with the FM radios. At the beginning, I remember we were focusing a lot on just on the streaming. So for the first 6 years of RBL, we didn't want to upload podcasts because we wanted to focus all the attention on the streaming. Then we realized that it wasn't a way to have more audience because when we started upload podcasts, we realized that the same people were keep on listening to the stream, but other people started to listen to the podcast. So basically, in these 10 years, we saw how the net radio and then the podcast grow, and in a way we always been people who watch. We weren't an avant-garde as a media. Then in recent time, when the pandemic started, I'm talking a lot about well, the media and how we feel that the online radio is growing in these years. When the pandemic starts, I remember that the first month we saw that from 5,000 listeners per month, we jumped to 30,000 listeners per month. So we thought, okay, this is the moment when the things are changing. Then it was a bubble, and well, after that we started to think about how to grow with the kind of media we are, and we started thinking about involving other community of people like us in other cities of the world. And so it started the idea of RBL Cosmos, as we call it. So the same thing, but that involve other group of people in other cities. So in a way, we are now looking for something that it can be, it can stay as it is. We were saying for keep it small can be a motto for this kind of strategy, but at the same time involving other people in other parts of the world means a grow and the opportunity to have a wider impact staying small.
As I said, maybe said earlier, we are mainly we are only like volunteers in a radio, so this is definitely something that we have to that keeps us free from the money question. So for the pandemics, for instance, it was a bit difficult for the radio to, I'd say, keep it going through the events, which are our mainly funds. But otherwise, it wouldn't really change anything for us, because we will still keep doing what we love, because in the end we are only individuals who love music. And I think this is the way we will just try to find new stuff, because most of the time, I will listen to music. So, and I think it's maybe the same for everyone, but that's all we all have this kind of. For instance, we are maybe 3 to 5 in each station, so and we are all independent. Like each station works on its own, and we will just have I'd say different taste. Everyone, which for instance, I will be more into ambience. Once will be more into a deconstructed club and future stuff. So we will just gather it all together, and this is the first step of finding new stuff. And maybe we can also rely on I'd say now we tend to propose new programs through focus on, like we had on the Romanian scene. Like we will work with some Romanian locals like Loris, or from the I'd say our listeners will definitely be more Europeans, because of we are mainly living in European countries, and our residents are from there in the first time, even if we tend to explore Asian world and stuff. But for instance, the African continent is more difficult for us to reach, maybe because it's not the same way of listening to music or sharing it. It's a lot of maybe more Soundcloud stuff, the way the new generation of music producer goes. It's through maybe those networks. And this is why we would work with some locals again to explore this world and maybe find new stuff. And this will be, for instance, like 6 months programs with, 30, 60 artists. So we can rely and exchange with people that know the subjects, because we can't know about everything. And this is kind of the way for us to explore new stuff. And definitely we want to keep it, as you said, real from the beginning, but still we have to also adapt to the younger scene. And this is also a way, like in Lyon we got this year two new volunteers, so out of 4, 2 quit and 2 were new, and so they are definitely younger than us and will bring like new stuff, even if I don't like them, because maybe old school for this kind of way. We have like to accept it. Sorry, and like broaden our horizons to like kind of catch up with what's going next.
Yeah, by all means, I will connect to your words that I mean. We are maybe too old school for some stuff, but also like with experience, there comes some way of understanding the new trends of today, and like frequency of repeating of some trends from the past, etc. So we can see the pattern and recognize them, and like create them in some way. But for instance, Drugstore's policy was also like always like to include artists that are not established, and like to give them chance to share stage with the biggest acts. So this made us vulnerable from one perspective, that there was like a lot of amateurism involved in the process, but this always gives back some new waves of approach to music, even though you see that of course those people are not professionals in what they do, but they obviously bring something new to the table. So this was always our credo to how to approach curating any event, and we're doing it now. Of course, being being there as let's say like a venue that is a bit bigger and more commercial, that it always brings a lot of requests, offers from wide variety of people from different genres, from different social backgrounds, different experiences. So we really tend to give everyone a chance, and through that kind of perspective, I think this is the way to also touch the ground and see what's happening new in the music, and to really keep up with the, let's say, trends, but in a more organic way than to be focused and relying on the media, which is in our case, as I said before, not very good way to deliver new music to our scene in particular. We try to bring new people all the time to the club. Of course, this has so many hit and miss projects. Some people are not inclined to deliver their best in the first try, in the second try. Someone's a late bloomer. Someone's hitting great in the start, being whatever later. So it's really different ways of you can see artists grow, or being able to deliver something new to the club scene or not. I mean, clubbing ecosystem by itself is very specific, so you're dealing with very niche way of listening music, exploring music, consuming music, and this is also what we are trying to break in a way with different formats of nights, or not even by night, but being open to completely different types of music. We sometimes have folk concerts through world music, different experimental stuff. So the more you mix it up, the better it is for the audience. You bring different people to your scene, to know your club, to know the different existing of different genres. Obviously, to come back to the social bubbles, certain genres of music are inclined to be very self-centered and not be open to other stuff. So just maybe because we can, or it's fun for us, we really try to clash so many different people, because we are lucky to have possibility to host 5 or 6 stages in our club. So sometimes we carried away, and we really try to mix crazy stuff together, and this hybrid way of pushing people to its boundaries really gave us crazy nights and collaborations at the end, or just like people being amazed by some other culture by itself, just they didn't know that it existed. So this is kind of a fun part to be able to mismatch and cross match this kind of genres, cultures, etc. So it's not necessarily like a recipe for success, but it really usually brings something interesting.
Surprises.
Really surprises.
Definitely surprises, yeah, of course. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. We have just a few minutes left, and I'd like to just get to the point of this whole session of panels that with also the other one that we had yesterday that are really linked to the Soul of Culture, which is a festival that is at this second edition and is pretty totally auto-financed. And so the thing is actually after all the case question of everything is of course sustainability. And the thing yesterday with the guys we talked of course about sustainability and how is it possible to keep something alive in a difficult context, and where does the effort goes, how is it possible to make it alive, to keep it alive in a way. This is about festivals, which are something that happen in a while, okay, so they need maybe some effort, some team effort, and everything could be amatorial forever in a way, and still work, of course, for radios, for medias, for a club. This is a bit different because this goes in a more wider way of existing into a person's life. So of course it's really hard to keep it alive in some way that goes off the amatorial way if it's not something that comes with some kind of financial, not gratification, but at least survival stuff. So the question is not like just how is it possible to finance this stuff, because of course we still are looking for the question, in a way, or someone has it, maybe it's not the good way, but the question is maybe, and I just like to have a personal point of view from you, if it is right to look for that, is it possible to find a way to make a kind of, independent underground focus on something label, event, club or web radio sustainable without doing compromises, and knowing that of course if you're lucky sometimes works that you can have some economic effort from your situation when you're saying that, but it's not that easy. Mainly the main path are like sponsors or personal investments that sometimes don't exist. And so the thing is that, is it possible to find a way in between? Is it useful to look for that? Or if you look at that, you are like definitely compromised in a way, or not?
Okay, I will not lie, it's like it's not easy to gain money from this, of course. For my point of view, at the beginning we had to have money on our own, of course, but it is definitely possible to keep going. I will not say like with compromises, but to find a kind of middle ground. I give you an example. Sometimes Radio Raheem works alongside brands, but we always decided if it's okay for us to work alongside with that brand, because if it's not like if it doesn't work for our identity, we will not make it for sure. Because it will be kind of cheated on our community. It's not easy also because we are in Italy and we do not have fundings from government, not at all. Everything comes from private stuff. And comparing to other projects similar to us, it's way more difficult to do it.
Yeah, we're still in the suburbs of culture.
Yeah, I mean, but yes, you can work it out. Also with partnerships or festival which are independent. I can give you an example. For example, the last festival we worked with was the Lost Festival, which of course was a partnership, but it was super independent and super close to our identity. It doesn't mean that it's easy, of course. We still can struggle because every month you have to think about what's coming next, of course. Yeah. And it's like impossible to think on the long term. It's always, but we choose it.
In RBL for the first 7 years it was all on a voluntary basis, so we were totally outside of the business, and the risk was that since the group, most of the group that was running the radio was getting older, and so needed to work. We felt that there was the risk that the radio could not survive to this moment, to that moment. Then we opened a place. We started to manage a bar, and this was our compromise, we can say. So it was not possible for us to work on the project as a media with a business model based on the media. So we started to sell beers, and in this way we could start to pay the people that is working to keep the radio alive. That means the people that is working every day to make others able to broadcast. And still, at the moment, we cannot conceive our radio as a place where professional can be paid to create content. It happens if there are specific projects with specific funds, but it's not something that we can conceive. And at the same time, the group of the people that is creating content does not expect it. Some people that collaborate with RBL and wanted to do that kind of work then move to other organizations. There is a person in M2O, another in Radio DJ, so they started at RBL as a place to start working on that, and then move to professional entity. To look at the future, I would say that we are happy like that. So we found a way to keep these things going on, and there is not a name about creating a business around it. At the same time, it's very interesting to see how others work on this and discover new way to grow and makes the things that we want to do more interesting and with more resources. Of course, it is something good. Today, RBL is a media, but his business model is not based on the media.
Okay, So to speak for LYL Radio, I think that the radio we will always think it as a voluntarily project, so we will never gain money from it, so we can stay free for the time it exists. And I think that we would prefer maybe it dies instead of us being led by money making, so that's why we will always make it voluntarily. And maybe I'd like to talk more about the personal point of view on this, because I worked also, I have my own label, which I have the same ID, so I think this is pretty difficult, as you said. Maybe some partnership with some brands that will create some real good quality content would be okay, and we occasionally do that with some, I don't know, good festivals or cultural center and stuff like that. But I'm really afraid of getting spoiled by it, as I worked for 4 years in a cultural organization. And at some point, I just, people, they will just say, yeah, you are super lucky to do that, to work in culture and gain money from this. But at some point, you will just be led by, okay, I have to bring 300 person to my party, and so I have to, make decisions which are not artistic only. And so after 4 years, I decided to quit because I didn't feel easy with it anymore. I didn't enjoy my work there, and I think this is all LYL Radio was created, because I didn't create it, but that's how I perceived it. And we all try to work individually in the music, like being DJ, producers, touring, stuff like that. But we will always keep it, I think, voluntary.
For myself, I kind of don't align with this kind of thoughts. I don't think the voluntarism should be exploited exploited is maybe like a harsh word, but
yeah, because we kind of want to do it this way actually. But I'm okay with people trying to make live through it. It's okay for me.
What I want to say, like, it's I think that content making is something that should be be paid for, and I think that making this let's say trend of radios that are like completely voluntary, free for everything, free for everyone. It's actually like shooting yourself in the leg, basically, in a cultural way. I think the way to do it, knowing all the historical references of what has been, culturally significant to, put society forward in a cultural way, is to demand funds from the state to be used for these purposes. And by saying that, I think there is ways, and I think the mantra of being independent in a way is very much being abused left and right for not that clear purposes. What is independence in these days? How are we independent of what exactly? And who is the who are the people who are producing music? Who are the people who are arranging music at the end? And no one in that way got paid for that. But then we have people who enjoy that content, and no one from the people who actually should be responsible from state apparatus is being, kept accountable for. So we are, putting a blind eye to the people who are like, being corrupted in doing their work. They should be, the ones in the ministries of cultures, that and that. They should be the people who, should be responsible for like having different ways of like, developing culture, developing educational side of music, culture itself, etc. But we are not taking these people accountable for, just people who are listening to one of these radios could be said like in 5 minutes, let's go to the Ministry of Culture, sit in front for 10 minutes and like, throw some tomatoes there and, ask for the money which is ours. But instead of it, we are losing incredible amount of energy to perpetually ask and deliver free content, which is kind of like, keeping us completely impotent to do anything politically significant for our generation. And I think that we somehow need to like step out of this mantra of being, independent. Independent of what? Independent from ourselves and what we need to be, delivered, from the taxes that we are paying for our fucking governments. And no one is striking in the cultural sector. No one is going, to see these people accountable. But we are still counting that we have 30, 50,000 listeners. We are having clubs that have, 2,000 people a night. But we are not shaking anyone's, responsibility of what should be done. So, from my point of view, I think. This puritanism of being independent should be like very much put aside. I think it's like very, this like a post-liberal notion, and it politically is completely impotent to change anything at the end, and that we really need to like, with the amount of people we are, with organizations are having to, somehow have the push to do something, and of course, this independent radio will not have any more volunteering enthusiasm in 2 years, in 5 years. I'm not gonna, predict anyone's future, but these projects are left to people's enthusiasm, and they are, I'm sorry to say, destined to, fail at the end when this enthusiasm wears out. So instead of like, just looking how to survive from day to day, I think. Some of that, potential in having people, focus on your content. I think it's paramount for each of our organizations to put actual, not just symbolic way of like, okay, we're dealing with independent music, so everyone who is like on the receiving end should be like, oh, I'm thankful for this independent content, and it's gonna be, I'm feeling already that I've changed something. You didn't change anything by listening to, experimental music from Morocco. So I think basically that we need to put more actual words to our thoughts, to our striving to be independent, what independent actually means, to change something, or just to keep this circle rolling.
I think, actually, I'm really sorry, but I have to interrupt it because we have to start with notice. But I think that we get in a really interesting the topic, and I think that there is still a lot of things to say, and people want to intervene, not only maybe us, but maybe some of the participants. So we have to close the talk, but we can still talk in a way, even if it's not an institutional talk. So maybe we can still stay here, or move at the bar, I don't know. But sorry, but we really have to close it to be on time and with everything.
Sorry if I...
No, it was really interesting. So it's not sorry, but...
Thanks a lot for everyone, because I think that we got...
we all have different kind point of view, but it's super interesting. Like anyone seems like to be right, like literally. So maybe we can also grab a beer. I don't know what time is it, because I will have my train soon.
Thanks.
As you said, like
for
after
you,
1 hour, it's becoming interesting.
Thanks for everyone that has been here to hear for us in English in this.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for enjoying the music and culture.